Thursday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday. But they, no, they wouldn't play well.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Oh, peachy. Come on, why don't you go and sit? I told you already. So I'm gonna cash it.
You guys are you guys sad. So they give you that.
Ready?
Everybody post regular meeting for Borough County. Order. Benjamin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meetings being held in compliance with New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, and advertised in the Register on the boards downstairs. Roll through the social media channels. I ask for those of you friends in person, please place your cell phones on silent and speak to somebody while conducting business. Please do so outside the council chamber. Roll call, please.
Mr. Benjamin.
Here.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Present.
Mr. McLoone.
Here.
Mr. Perno. Mr. Marazza.
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
Have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Perno is at work this evening, unable to get for texting. First item on the agenda is the public portion of the meeting. Anyone from the public who wishes to come forward, speak on any topic, please forward, state your name and address.
Hi, can I speak?
Come to the mic.
Okay, great.
My name is Reed Sutton. I was here in November, application to open a cannabis dispensary, at the dry cleaner there at 33 Center Street. It was denied, and I was wondering if there's anything that's in our power to change, that we could change about our application, to make it more favorable for the town. We had talked about wanting to do a consumption lounge, and I know Mr. Perno was opposed to the consumption lounge idea, or if it's just simply too close to the other one, even though ordinance-wise it's legal, you guys feel it's too close, and I don't mind about that. I was just coming to see if there's anything about the application that's changeable, that I can control, that would make it more palatable.
I would say from my perspective, the primary concern was location. I mean, we'd be open to something on the west end, but I think just the proximity to the existing dispensary, I think it hurts the business, not only the business there, right? It would be detrimental to your potential business as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of discussed it in open session last time. There was definitely that parking is an issue there because it's going to be such a rapid turnover of parking, lack of, off-street parking.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I appreciate your input, thank you very much.
thank you. All right. Close the public portion of the meeting. Move into presentation. We're going to push that to the next meeting. 23. Approval of minutes. The meeting minutes from January 12th, 2026. Everybody who's here, council can vote. So moved. Motion, Mr. Woods, second, Mr. Fitzgerald, right, or sorry, Mr. Braza. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Engineers report. Mr. Lees. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. So just to give an update, reached a settlement agreement for Somerset Phase One. Submitted the paperwork, beneficial to the borough as well as final adjusted quantities. Still within the grant map. Also, had a settlement agreement on Phase Two. To actually, make a settlement on tree damage. Check. Submitted proposals for Phase Three. Place, as well as the poison. The runoff portion, we're moving forward. Just initial portion of it, so we if successfully get reimbursed for those costs. I'm working with Express to get us access to the rooms. We're already putting out. And then lastly, we had our stormwater inspection, we have stormwater report, so I'll work with Ken to provide responses. No major issues, just clarifications and explanations on how stormwater works. No major issues.
Great. On the multi-use that project, I think pushing that.
Yeah.
We can get the construction next year. I don't want to delay too many projects that held out there for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So the pedestrian walkway path and that whole project is 2016 grant fund. You're not handling that, but somebody else is. So we're trying to push that along and under control. I just kind of want to get some of this stuff going. So it seems we get this money that sort of sits there for a while. So let's push it as much as we can. What's the design going on?
Yes, and I have an electrical designer, reviewing the plans now. Once we get through the environmental part, we'll see what we can push as far as the use of co-ops. I know there's some pending legislation for the use of co-ops, so we'll finalize that.
Perfect. Okay. Other questions, Mr. Reese? All right. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is course improvements. This is perhaps you giving me correspondence. Get it back to you rather than taking it. It's,
Rowan Park,
there, Green Acres program. Owl Park was inspected and has been remains in compliance with the Green Acres regulations. Next inspection is 2020. It's a good thing. It allows us access to funding and grant opportunities there at Owl Park. So, thank you for continued stewardship of Owl Park. And it's been something we spent a lot of time and effort on. No other correspondence.
there you are.
Okay. Council reports. Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not too much to report tonight. Since the last time we met, and I know I mentioned this before, the forestry management plan has been finalized to proceed. They did a great job in putting this together, really guide the work that Shade Tree does over the next 10 years when we have to renew our forestry management plan. But I've been working with Ms. Krause to get that finalized payments, and then the state required us to pay out of pocket first, and then so the entirety of the grant funding will cover between our share that we were able to pay for volunteer hours, so there's no out-of-pocket cost to the borough. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Wood? Hearing none, Mr. Benjamin, good evening.
Your Honor, a couple of reports, for January, one virtual session, one in-person session. February cases added, 204 cases added, 336 disposed, and an amount of $5,436. Diversity Committee had a reorganization on January 22nd. Rudy Delverso was reappointed chair. Let's see here. A couple goals for this year. Looking to increase our social media presence. We had a little bit of a bump to the presence last year and kind of fell off. So you're going to see a little bit more interaction from Diversity Committee that's online. And they're working on finalizing their talent here and planning to meet again in April. Okay.
Any specific programming for Black History Month?
I know they put a post out there. I don't think there's anything organized at this point. Like this, obviously recognize contributions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Questions, Mr. Benjamin? Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, Board of Ed, their last meeting was held on January 20th. Their next one due up is set for February 17th. Hoping this month I'll finally be able to have that meeting to sit down and discuss parts of playgrounds, either coordination or just how we can work in or around the same schedules. Office of Emergency Management, I had reached out to the Township of Pennsauken last month. We floated a couple of meeting dates. Unfortunately, those came and went with no word from Pennsauken. I reached back out again. Their representative said that they would look to see what other dates might be available. Have not heard back since. I plan to reach out to them again at some point tomorrow, as well as to Mayor Olivo, and see what we might be able to get put together from there. We'll be able to report on that, hopefully better by caucus meeting. Mercerville Business and Professional Association, their next meeting is set for the 11th at Coast Brewery. Their current project that they're working on is a coupon book that they were trying to wrangle some of the local businesses into participating with. They're closing that out in the next couple of days. We'll be seeing something from that soon. DPW, as we're all aware, we had quite a major snowstorm that took place since the last meeting. They handled it despite the fact that we were short one truck. The F-250 that was reported last month as having engine failure that turned out to be catastrophic. At this point, the cost to repair the engine would exceed the cost of the vehicle in accordance with Blue Book value. So we're the chief is looking into potential replacements, finding something reasonable with an upscale from the 250 to accommodate more work around the borough. Coupled with that, Chief Patty was good enough to put together an after actions report going over what worked, where we had some shortcomings, and what we can do to hopefully improve on the next snowstorm that comes along. I'll be having to sit down with them hopefully Thursday or Friday. They'll be involved, unfortunately, with the funeral for the firefighter that had passed last week for the city of Camden. Board of Health, our next meeting will be on the 12th, and that is all I have for this.
Thank you very much. Sean, I'll be with Mayor Oliver on that day. I'll go again. If you're okay with that.
That'd be much
Just to
appreciated.
sort of follow up and hit it from a different direction.
I was hoping to maybe see him if he was going to be at work tomorrow during sampling things, but it'd be more than helpful.
I'll just remind him. Any questions from Mr. Fitzgerald? The only other thing I will say is we need to prioritize that parcel discussion. Yeah.
Understood.
So
Yeah,
that's why
we'll get here sooner rather than
So, and it's your call, correct?
I've conversed a few times with, Amanda. I don't think it got well.
it did not.
Okay, I'll
Between the two of you and then, it's just prioritize, I guess. Thank you. Mr. Strauss.
Thank you, Your Honor. Original fire, 24 calls last month. This is for January 17 Borough, one day shade, Tree Hill, solving. Most equipment, minor, little mechanic things. So nothing major. that. We're also taking advantage of January months, winter months, fewer activities, things that the training does, so there's much, safer, more pathogens. Right to know, either completing the fit testing, that's for the masks, your inspection, some of this was just sort of this again, nothing major for code enforcement. I know we have a discussion there, so tonight we'll discuss that.
Dan, the only question I have is, I've seen recent articles about communities that are unable to staff their fire response. And I know that we've talked about this. It wasn't that long ago we had a discussion about our volunteer group and how we're trending and what we can do. How are we doing?
We keep getting more. I think, when we set this out, like, just what we talked about, this is civil service tests are much longer for firefighters. What we're seeing is definitely, we're doing training, and what we thought they would take 3 years to become professional firefighters, they're getting picked up in months. So, we're definitely have to do a really good sort of effort. We did it last year, we put it out. They started doing social media, we put it out, get a few volunteers. We're definitely benefiting from paid departments around us still, but we're seeing that sort of area grow where we have to pull from. So it's going to, we keep trying.
Right.
We haven't gotten to a part where we haven't gotten to a point where we have to like those other departments. It seems like they're all so but yes, it's going to take skill. And I think 5 or 7 or 8 right now. I think the bigger problem we have volunteer company is those that want to step up. And what we're seeing is people like to do the fireside, they don't want to triple. And who's going to take those lieutenants in those other positions that are much more managing? And Kevin feels like he has the next crop of candidates that's kind of, let's say, replace him. So, but we're those that are going to step up and take leadership role in the department. We have a couple that have really stuck around, but they have both and we had someone that just went on injury last month, so that sets us back. So it feels like we continue trending. I think membership-wise, we're still hanging on pretty good, especially if we're on really like Pennsylvania, places in Gloucester, Southern County, I'm sure. Yes, it's an ongoing issue. I know Kevin and I have had a couple of conversations, so just the legislation moving that to make it more appealing to fire guys for people to do volunteer firefighting. Nothing that we've really been able to take advantage of. Kevin did start over December honoring employers of volunteer firefighters for their recognition for their employees and staff knowing that they have commitments to respond. And so he's going to start honoring at least an employer of our volunteer firefighters.
And maybe marketing to some of the border employees in the area. More payout as a military background, understands the active service, I think like being the type of institutions we might be able to get some volunteer from their headquarters right down the street. So, and with regard to leadership and stepping up, that's not an industry specific issue. And you hear it all over the place. Okay. Questions from Mr. Sperano? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Birchville Police Department, for the month of January, were involved in 1,267 incidents. This includes 143 positive engagements with members of the community. The statistics also include 162 traffic stops, 96 incidents involving parking enforcements, 7 arrests, and 1 DWI arrest. The department had 9 members in the month of January, take the mandatory training output test machines that will be coming out in the next month or so. Chief Gracia also began the first of 6 sessions of training provided by the State Association of Chiefs of Police. In the month of January, there continues to be 3 areas of we'll call proactive traffic enforcement. First is Walnut and Leslie, 120 proactive patrols, observed 12 violations, 7 summonses and 7 warnings were issued. They also continued at 1 South Center Street to address the parking issues. There was 35 proactive patrols. No violations were actually observed at that particular vicinity. And then additionally, at the request, at 113 North Center Street, reports of improper parking. Officers observed 4 violations, which resulted in 4 summonses. Last but not least, as I mentioned in January, Officer Queen having pursued a new opportunity outside. Chief Gracia is continuing to look for qualified candidates to add to the virtual department. So basically, continue to be word out. It's a tough line of work right now to get qualified
Thank you very much.
So I have
Questions from Mr. McLean? I was on the public safety front. We did have a meeting before this meeting with residents in and around 214 West Maple, which is a former traumatic brain injury facility on the corner of Lexington and Maple, which is an addiction treatment facility. There was an incident that occurred, I think it was in November, with a resident there. We had a good meeting with residents. We provided notice to those in the area who were potentially impacted. Had some good discussions about issues that they're concerned with. We had addressed most of those. The chief had already addressed most of those. We had communication with the operator there. The operator showed up at the meeting, very productive. A lot of discussions around what we can make it more part of our community and avoid those types of issues. So it's positive, and we have an open line unless you communication continue with that facility in our police moving forward. So that's on the public safety front. I was talking about those issues. Just know continue address those needs of the residents. And that's all. Any other questions? All right. Clerk's report. Mrs. Rouse.
Thank you, Your Honor. Wanted to let you know that S'mores Love was very successful, I think, on Friday evening. Very cold, but very successful. It was tied in with clips, ribbon cutting, and many people. And I think it was a great night. And we got a lot of people responded just saying that they had a great time. There will be the Historical Society meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 at the community center. And if you'd like to, there's a little notice here and posted around the butler of the White House for years and years will be at the meeting tomorrow night and discussing, I guess, whatever as a butler. So it will be at the community center, and everybody's welcome to come. And that's that. And then the borough will be closed next Monday for President's Day. Everybody, make sure they understand and know that. We have posted, and we had a luncheon last week. Bowles, and she's no longer at the borough, and we have new CFO. She started, and she'll be working mostly remotely, but she will come in off and on as well, and things that job. So yeah, she will be in tomorrow morning to talk with me too. So if you have any questions or like to reach out to her, I can send her email information and talk to her as well. She'll be working on things like the budget, the audit. That comes up. Okay.
I do not.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Community development report. Mentioned that we have ribbon cutting at Eclipse. It's nice to get them back and open again. And it was cold. It was like you ordered a Hallmark
Absolutely.
Small town, back.
Right, you're backing up
Well,
drums
yeah.
and, all the things that were happening. That was great, it was. Fire pit.
All right.
Oh, and I'm sorry, by the way, there are s'mores downstairs.
Please.
On the table. Please take lots of bags of s'mores as we leave, okay? Please. Well, everybody take 10 and then we should be good to go. Okay, that's it.
Marshmallows not
Well, they're in a bag, so they're little. Stay there. That's right, put them in the microwave.
Okay, old business, discussion, fair share housing plan. What do we got?
I believe I sent around a copy of the letter from planner Dave Benedict, together with the proposal consent that that I worked on with Fair Share Housing. This is a situation where, as you point out, there is basically administrative to get our substance certification compliance. It's basically a bit more. Okay. There's nothing more that's serious at this point in time, and what I'm just seeing.
We have a resolution for that. Thank you. Need a resolution.
You know what? I think we should. At least at this point, I can prepare with
You don't have to need one. Council, any questions about those administrative items that we get in place?
When does that need to be filed by? Is it March?
It says March 15th. Okay. The court hasn't been very original.
As far as what's required under the Fair Share Housing Plan, when do we have to be in compliance with that?
We would be.
Okay, so there's just third and second.
Well, we have to get
Okay, okay.
For the unions.
There's actually our third job. We are.
Thank you. All right. Good. Council, okay with that? Yeah. All right, we'll move forward to Senator or the big one. I guess we'll just do a voice vote. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. You need to give that back. All right, new business. First item on the agenda is facility for virtual music.
Yes, John, I actually have two applications for public use. First, as you mentioned, is for the Virtual Music Fest. It's going to be scheduled on September 19th. They're looking downtown Triangle parking lot, as usual, from 3 to 9 p.m. I anticipate a crowd size of 1,100. I think we're all pretty familiar. See a lot of them in there every year, so I think we can that. It's Lynn's birthday, so I don't have to do a birthday party now. I'm just gonna go.
Obviously, for that, there's construction ongoing there where we have that.
Yeah, contingent on
Perfect.
not moving the spring for that.
So the whole side, or it's fine.
Kind of moving both.
Yeah.
So the second one, Ms. Klaus from Merchant School contacted me. This was in regards to the banner again. However, they looked to put the banner in the ground with metal poles and stakes at the circle at Center and Chapel. I guess the board confirmed that the sign's not really meant to go over Center at the gazebo and some damage. So if they get reviewed by Chief Patty, Chief Rouse, no safety concern. But again, this is the banner to remind people to register for art. Begin the magical journeys.
Education matters. Difference. Okay, so we have two applications, one for banner placement, one for facilities. Everyone okay considering together?
Yes.
I have a motion, Mr. Booth, make a motion to move those, so I second. Mr. Woods with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, thank you. Next, discussion short-term rentals in merchant. Mr. Scarani, take the lead on this? I know that,
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. So when we last spoke about this, we kind of talked about this. The issue of regulating short-term rentals such as Airbnb or those types, it's not a single template of a response. There's a lot of tolerance working with as a municipality can do in terms of regulating these, also knowing that the blanket prohibition is not. There is federal law, state law on housing, that sort. So what I asked Chief Patton to do in his capacity as code enforcement and fire inspector, which is two of the most prominent units within the municipality in terms of regulating, is kind of come up with the Chinese menu of options that we can look at in terms of what the council sentiment is with the process in terms of regulating. That's what this document is. This is meant to be sort of a temperature, what direction we want to go in. There's a discrepancy between what one town does versus another in terms of short-term rentals versus these as, apartment registrations that we do. Everyone's aware of the apartment registration, looking at very successful in terms of making sure that landlords are doing their part, that tenants are protected, fire safety, that sort. What I would suggest is as you look at this, us adopting a short-term ordinance, we can discuss what goes with that short-term ordinance, but definitely separated from the apartment registration. I think it makes it cleaner, it makes it more understandable for the public that they wish to come in, here's your form for this, but also knowing there's going to be some overlap in terms of how we enforce these. So I'm not going to read through this, there's a lot here, but this was sort of the amalgamation of many different towns' ordinances that have governed these in very different ways. Some things to think about, a lot of towns do mandatory 3 days versus 2 days versus 1 day of stays. We can get to that. Some things also consider is owner occupied rentals, or management required to be on site at all times. So I'll look at that. But part of this is understanding the character of the town, keeping nuisances look reduced for residents, and also understanding that people also fall on hard times. This becomes a monetary thing of value that keeps people in their homes. Also knowing that we're better community of Philadelphia, and knowing that that's going on this year to the anniversary, and also kind of knowing that we only have 2 rentals right now, 2 of these that are really identified. So I'm open to all options. Love to hear what other members of council think. I think there's a lot of good ideas in this. I think there's a lot of approaches we can take on this. Some of this is trying to balance that benefit to a homeowner that is looking for opportunities to afford a mortgage, afford rent, afford their housing, property tax, everything else. Also understanding that there's a business benefit to this. As we try to redevelop downtown, it becomes an alternative to other communities. So how do we balance that with protection of property values of neighboring homeowners and that sort of stuff? I hope they're up to that. Please read through this. There's a lot. I would like to know what people's suggestions is, what their opinions are, because there's a lot of times that get really restricted, and it has other downsides. There's also people that make this the college party thing. City communities haven't really had that problem where you get a single rental on one night and it becomes a real problem for law enforcement, because a problem for neighbors because of falling rates. So trying to balance those things.
So I'll go first. First, I want to thank Chief Patty for the research put together. I think he made some very good selling points on his open paragraph. I agree with everything. And the framework here for ordinance looks pretty good as well too. From what I saw, short-term rentals should be cut out, should be separate from the long-term. The only thing that I guess I would like to see more consensus around in defining short-term rental is that duration, because I saw many towns like Huntington, there's a couple other our size front of me. They kind of defined it 30 days or less, so like they did 29, 28, that's for February something. Where this I think was 3 or 7,
I know Mr. Higgins, we did something for Pensacola, we did 7 days.
No, it's 3 days.
3 days, okay. So I'm just concerned there's this big gap that someone could rent some 5 days. And still, we're not defining that as short-term rental in this or in other one, so.
So even when this isn't an ordinance, I wouldn't treat this as an ordinance. These are options that other towns have put.
Yeah.
So he's referring to just the
Yeah.
definition portion at the beginning where it's.
I recognize it's just a framework, I'm just saying, as this evolves to an ordinance draft.
Magic number for 30 days or less, but the whole landlord tenant law kicks in.
Okay,
That's.
So it didn't quite go into the school.
Yeah, so that's my only, everything else is fine, I mean, I do believe if we have the ability to prohibit short time, that's what we should do. Again, he outlines all the things that he's going to want to regulate it. If we go down the path of regulation, I think certainly prerequisite has to be occupant, owner has to be there and part of it or something. Like, you can't have these corporations coming in and, it's another, property of dozens of hundreds that they have. And that really concerns me, but I would like to prohibit it. And then if someone comes and makes the case that, we should change or put in, like a real detail.
So to my mind, I think that if we put in sufficient restrictions, it's not gonna make business sense for these companies to come in and run a property that they're gonna use just for short-term rental. I think what might be the way I'd be leaning to go is, I don't necessarily want to put a cap on how many days, I don't think, whether it's 1 or 2, if somebody rents out their house for 1 day, even 1 time a year, I don't have a problem with that. I think we put a cap on how, define short-term rental, and maybe how many days you could rent your house out in the period of a year. So if it's, I would say even maybe set it 30 days, and over the course of the year, you can rent out a total of 30 days. I think anything more than that, you'll turn into a rental property. So we would have.
At the same token, I think, and I appreciate that, I think about that myself, I think about the opportunity for some of these big old homes to turn to an Airbnb, and how that really, and they use these short-term rentals, Airbnb, it's bed and breakfast, where you might only have 3 rooms, but it becomes, a formal business that the owner still lives in. And I'm denying some of these big homes that capacity qualify, it'd be really.
But at that point, wouldn't it be a business and they're having registered as such?
Even they still live in it, so it's still owner occupied.
But I mean, at that point, would it be classified as like a hotel?
For rental.
It wouldn't be a hotel if you're doing it year round.
So we had a case come up like 10 years ago, and I think we were kind of hesitant not to do it. Owners there, and like, I was kind of okay because I knew the owner was, and do it.
But you have to make a blanket
Yeah.
policy that's gonna.
So I think it's a slippery slope. That's why I'm still like urging kind of short term. But if we go down your path, just the owner has to.
I'm thinking of this as, okay, when the Surprise raised, we have the 250 coming up, we have the World Cup coming up. Somebody who says, you know what, I can make a bunch of money around the house for a weekend. I wouldn't be there. If I live in a single family home, have kids, I wouldn't want to have them down there. I'm not opposed to letting somebody do that, but my concern is if you're doing it consecutively, you're doing it for months at a time. So I mean, I lean toward for those instances, but also I agree with your, maybe it is a different policy for that. I mean, if you're looking at short term,
That's the problem. Sure.
but I think you can define it differently. I mean,
I'm not legally be
I
able
don't know,
to.
you can't, what separates this from that? That's, yeah, well, it stops like from hanging a sign from the house. And when it's, nothing's stopping over here.
Right.
That's the issue.
And nothing stopping them from putting it on the internet or advertising it online and such.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to the idea of number 9 listed on Chief Patty's list here is the prohibition of one to 2 medical appointments may be included. I understand the dynamic of saying, okay, we have an event coming up, it's from the complaints that you are hearing from the one location that we are aware of, it is those 1 to 2 night stays that are giving the residents agita to a certain extent because they have families there. They find it to be a little disconcerting that the way people are coming and going, they never know who's there. How are they registering these people in rapid turnover? Especially if it's, one night they're claiming that they have folks from out of state, and literally the next night they're gone, and it's another group of people. How are we going to police that's such a rapid turnover of people if we're allowing them to stay 1 to 2 nights a week? Does it start to become an administrative headache? Are we even able to police that in any capacity? Whereas I think if we set the minimum stay of 7 days, it kind of gives us a little bit of breathing room during those 7 days to allow the owner, who I agree with Councilman McClune should be on site at all times, to actually get the information to us of these are the individuals that will be staying at the property during this time period, where I just don't see how 1 to 2 nights, how we'll ever be able to police that.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, it's just like other than change of tenants for long-term rental registration, you wouldn't have to change of tenants for short-term rental. That wouldn't be possible. And what are we gonna do? You're gonna get a name and what are we policing? Because there's a John Doe one night and a Jane Doe the next night. We're not running background checks on these people.
Understood.
They don't have permission.
It would be more record keeping. It would require the owner of the property renting in short-term rentals to keep on.
Which was also mentioned.
That's you wouldn't police it unless you had to, and then you would have the information to eventually manage it.
And one of the things that Kevin and I talked about, Chief Patty and I talked about, is more of a matter of when you register, you have to say what rooms you're on. You can't say one night this is 5 bedroom and the next night renting it out. So you would have to do plans to lay out to say there's a portion of the house that is being rented. So police or fire are told they're aware of what rooms may be occupied. I do agree that there is probably unlimited or occupied skin in the game for the owner. There's gonna have disruption, they're gonna be disrupted just as much. When we have that, also they need to be available 24/7 in case of emergency. They can't just, say I'm renting my house out and then go on vacation themselves and disappear. And I have no one to.
Yeah, I think that needs to be in there, that there's some level of management that can be immediately responsive.
Yeah.
Tim, on its face, the ability to restrict it outright.
I think that would create a problem. I think that you have to, and you have to look for a logical reason why you're requesting this information. I think the logical reason, pretty much standard wise, is the 1 or 2 day rental that ends up being some kind of a frat party or something like that. And that's what it's looking to stop. I think that most of the a lot of I drew the 3 day. I drew that particular ordinance 3 day just for the purposes of if somebody's going in and run a property, they're going to get fired week, Friday, Saturday, but be able to monitor at that point in time. I say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because that generally speaking, places being rented on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Both everybody's gone on Saturday. For a Friday night rental, one Saturday morning, bunch of beer cans and trash. So, there's a legitimate state interest in that particular type of rental. So I would caution against a blanket prohibition. I think that you're looking at what's reasonable in terms of what you're trying to accomplish in terms of.
Thank you. Anything else, council, in this discussion? It was a good discussion. I do know, look, we have residents that are very concerned about this type of an operation occurring at their neighbors right now. I don't want to rush to put bad, law in place, but I think we should really try and get something by the end of this month, by the next. So please take with Councilman Spraza and Chief Patty together have some good discussions, and let's see if we can get a form, ordinance in place, before the 23rd. All right,
If you wish, I can work with that Chief Patty, put something together, special laws. Everybody can go back to the next.
Everyone in council by Friday can just say individually preference, if there's certain aspects of this that you say are
like a priority.
He's got that.
Do you just wanna do CC Chief Patty
Yeah,
and the filter?
I know the council has some strong opinions about.
I'll make sure to be on that.
All right.
Every talk prior to the meeting.
Okay, good. Next item on new business is the resolutions to be approved by consent agenda. And a number of resolutions. Is there any that anybody would like to have? Considered separate? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to read through the resolutions and we'll vote on them as a consent agenda. Resolution 2623 approved addition of CFO from banking access. Resolution 2624 approved shared service agreement with county for SAVE program. Resolution 2625 approved tax exemption for disabled veteran. Resolution 2626 authorization to hire an engineer for municipal aid road project. Resolution 2627 resolution to hire an engineer for environmental reporting T-Hub project. Resolution 2628 fire subcode. Resolution 2629 construction and building subcode official appointment. Resolution 2630 plumbing subcode official appointment. Resolution 2631 approved change order number 1, 2, and final for NJDOT fiscal year 2024. And finally, resolution 2632 appoint municipal certified financial officer. Do I have a motion? It is a straight part-time employee.
Second.
Mr. Ross was the first. Mr. Fitzgerald was the second. Roll call.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McGloon.
Yes.
See what you did here.
Mr. Curno. Mr. Scarrazza.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Mr. Benjamin.
Yes. A random.
I pulled
I
that
saw that.
somewhere else. Oh.
It's fun.
I noticed it last when we had to.
That was wrong. That's old.
It's on my note too.
Alright, that's bad. Okay.
Ross is no longer.
Wow.
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah, but you come
You can
back.
vote on Thanks for allowing me.
Oh, thanks.
All right, next we have the introduction of ordinances. We have introduction ordinance 2601 cap bank ordinance. Do I have a motion? So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Woods with the first, Mr. Benjamin with the second. Discussion on this. Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McGloon.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrazza.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Those will be on the 23rd or
No.
March,
I have it, there's a,
March 9th.
March 9th.
Those will be on the agenda March 9th for adoption.
Holiday.
Ordinance 2602, amending bond ordinance 2212.
So
Second. Mr. Fitzgerald, the first, Mr. Woods, the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Benjamin.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McGloon.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrazza.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Likewise for that, public hearing and adoption will be March 9th. Okay. Next, we have the financial reports. Mr. McClune.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion for resolution 26-33, hereby authorizing the payment of bills totaling $1,028,804.37.
And the motion is to include for the payment of bills. Do I have a second?
second.
Second, Mr. Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Benjamin.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McGloon.
Yes.
Mr. Brazza.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Announcements? Anything else? I think I have any announcements. Anybody have any announcements? All right, we don't have any items for private session this evening. I'll entertain a motion. So, second, motion adjourned, Mr. Wood, second, Cheryl, roll call, or all in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, adjourned. Thank you.
There's a lot.
I know, you got me. Working. All right, hold on.
Oh, my gosh. I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't, but why, I don't know why it wasn't fixed. Okay, that's the check number, I can write that back if you want me to.
Firm, once we sold that. After we fill out whatever they, it has to sign off, but it's, so,
Yeah, well, that's gonna be another
yeah,
situation.
another 2 months of going back and forth with that.
Well, I can see if I can try and get in under, I couldn't get her information for
I
that.
think there's more information to fill out, though, so I think John will handle it. I
Okay,
just need her to put the
I-
box and.
I don't think, I will ask her if she can get in, I don't know if she can get
Ask her from Denise.
she's the CFO, so it came from her email, that was the one for Ted, had to come from his email, the one for me had to come from mine, I had to approve one that he had to approve, another thing she had to. Now, I can see if I can get Betty Jo
Yeah.
to have access, and I can send it to Sage and see if, they can.
We'll get this in 2030.
Right, this is madness, but we'll work on it.
Okay.
See what we can do about getting her in, I'm sure she has access to Sage, so I'll send Sage, I have a good contact there, that helps. With the others, right? It took how long to get that to
Just about 4 months.
anyway,
Okay.
we'll work on that.
Got it.
But the checks went out, so they should have had those,
So you expect the money from say 6 to 9 months?
I know, we got the money.
You know, that's what you're.
No, it was unbelievable, and then it just kept moving around, and then they had to go in and change something, and then Ted got to approve it, and then they said, okay, you're good, and then they sent me a message, I had to, and then he said, and it just kept going around. It was over and over and over, it wasn't just a one time.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, so you remember the emails? I don't. Right, so I don't think they have a form then.
You're worried about water.